A lot of people have been talking about what is going on with the antithesis from Franklin Armory and the ATF. We're going to get into that, but I decided to hold off on a little bit because I have connections and sources, and I use those connections and sources to get information. And me, John Crump, I am going to bring you the information I got. I know who made the decision. I know why it was made, and I know everything else about it. So let's go ahead and get into it. Okay, last week the ATF, Franklin Armory issued their press release on the antithesis firearms. Antithesis firearms is a firearm that is not an SBR that can fire 5.56 and also other rounds. It does that by playing around with the definition of a SBR under the NFA. Now, the statute says that. Can you hear me? Okay. The statute says that a SBR under the NFA is a rifle with the barrel less than 16 inches that fires a single projectile. Well, there was an easy way to get around that, and that is by making it fire multiple projectiles. Therefore, it would not be considered a short barrel rifle under the NFA, but it would still be considered that under the GCA. So therefore, it would be a GCA only firearm, and yeah, it would not be subject to NFA regulations. So Franklin Armory released it, and the ATF immediately told them to go ahead and pull them all back, or if they don't, they were going to get hit by a cease and desist letter. Franklin Armory went ahead and pulled them all back. There is certain people saying stuff about, it was originally designed for like a 45 long Colt or a 410, and they made one with 5.56 and this other round. Now let's go ahead and talk about what I have discovered. Speaking to sources internally, what the ATF is worried about is that people could use antithesis like firearms to get around 922 type stuff, especially importing and exporting. You can export or import a pistol that is a pistol, and you can reconfigure it as an antithesis like firearm and get around the whole sporting purposes thing. So that's one of the reasons why they did it. They're not really too worried about the antithesis. What they seem to be worried about is knockoffs and other people doing it. So they believe that this can undermine the whole entire statute of the NFA, which it probably could, but they're playing by the rules. They are following the rules exactly. Now let's go ahead and talk about who made the decision. And before I get into that, let's just say that that this might be only temporarily because the ATF is going to issue an opinion letter on the antithesis. So let's go ahead and see exactly what that opinion letter says. So maybe people who return their antithesis, or in the companies that return them, maybe they will get them back if the letter comes out and says what the courts demand that the letter say. I can't say for sure if that will happen or not, but hoping that it will. We'll get into Bondi in a second here. The person that made the decision on the antithesis was Robert Leiter. Robert Leiter is the chief legal counsel for the ATF. He's the head lawyer of the ATF. It seemed like he was the one behind this push to get the antithesis back off the market. Now, Robert Leiter has been good on a lot of issues. This is one of the issues that he has not been good on. So now let's go ahead and talk about the executive branch's response. Trump issued an order stating that the Second Amendment rights should not be infringed upon. And this is exactly what's going on. The DOJ, which oversees the ATF, according to my leaks, do not seem that they are too much into defending this. They really don't care at all about what the ATF is doing with this. So the ATF is having cover. They have cover from the DOJ because the DOJ really doesn't care. This is not only Pam Bondi, but Chad Menzel, who is her chief of staff as well. They don't really give a shit about this whole thing. So they're going to give the ATF cover to do what the ATF does, and that is violate your rights and my rights. So wanted to put that out there because there's a lot of bad information going on. What Franklin Armory can do is they can go back to the judge in North Dakota and say, hey, look, they're already violating your court order, and get some type of ruling from the judge himself to say, ATF, you cannot do this. But as of right now, all the rifles are the non-NFA rifles are going back to Franklin Armory, which they will probably be held until an opinion letter comes out. What that opinion letter will say, I don't know, but there is a lot of ways to fight back against this. The best way to fight back against this is by going back to the original judge that issued the order in February and telling him to go ahead and issue another letter telling them that they cannot do this. So Franklin Armory really didn't have a choice. They were going to get hit by a cease and desist if they did not do this. So that's what they did. That is the inside information. I have an article coming. It's not the smooth bore. Coming out soon. I'm gonna get it written up now and get it out soon. That will be over on MLN.com, which will have even more information and more things as well. Busy weekend for me. Got a lot of different things I got to get done here, but wanted to let you know about the inside information and everything that is going on with this whole entire like kerfuffle here, and say that the ATF is wrong and Franklin Armory is in the right here, and we're going to have to see what Franklin Armory does next. I got a feeling that there's going to be some type of statement coming out, and probably more stuff coming out from the ATF and also Franklin Armory this week. So, yep, that's it. I will see you later. Bye.